Hello everyone, my name is Basil, and today we will be talking about the Aphrodite, translation of ancient Greek epic through the Black lens. First we'll begin with a brief introduction of myself. As I stated earlier, my name is Basil Wright and my pronouns are they, them. I have a Bachelor's of Arts and a Master's of Arts in Classical Civilizations. Classical Civilizations is a subsection of Classics, which is the study of both Greek and Roman history, which includes mythology. I also have a Graduate Museum Studies certificate, so it is eventually my hope to become a museum curator focused on Athenian black figure painting. My thesis papers focused on psychology of the other and ancient Greek misogyny. My senior thesis paper was on Medusa and her transformation from a monster in the archaic period of Greek art to a maiden, which started in the Hellenic period and continued into the Roman era. My master's paper was on Circe and the liminal nature of not just herself, but her island and its placement in the West, which was considered to be the land of the dead to the ancient Greeks. My favorite story from Greek mythology, by the way, is definitely the scene of Circe turning Odysseus's men into pigs. Now that I've explained who I am, let us explain who was Homer. Much of what we know about Homer is still contested by scholars, but I'll go into that a bit later in another slide. Some of you may be asking, when was Homer born? When did he die? And the answer to that is, it's unknown. Scholars are unsure when he was born, but it is agreed upon that the Odyssey and the Iliad were written in the late 8th or early 7th century BCE, before the Common Era. So that's a period of 800 BCE to early 700 BCE. There's a line here on this slide from the Odyssey, Book 11, line 379. There is a time for many words, and there is also a time for sleep. The archaic period of Greece is contemporary to when we believe the Odyssey was written. To discuss every event during this period would take longer than the time I'm allowed, but I've included a few significant events on this slide. First, the concept of the polis, or city in English, begins to form in Greece. Solon reforms the Athenian constitution. Solon was the archon, or leader, of Athens, who had a number of duties I'll gloss over. If you're in college, or planning to go there and have an interest in Athenian law, I definitely recommend taking a course on it. Consult your local classics department. Also at this time, sculpture influenced by Egypt appears, which we'll see on the next slide. The image on my right is of the Hirschfeld crater, created during this period. A crater is a type of vessel used for mixing wine, and the style of painting on this vessel is called black figure vase painting. Incidentally, this is also the main focus of my degrees, as I mentioned earlier, so if anyone wants to discuss that further, I'll have my contact information at the end of this presentation. The main thing to take away with Greek art is that there are, when you're focusing on vases, about 3 main types. Black figure vase painting, as you can see on the image to the right, red figure vase painting, where as you can imagine, all of the figures are painted red instead of black, and slightly later and a bit more rarer, white ground vase painting, which I regrettably do not have a picture of, but Google is very helpful in that regard. Here we have more images of art during the archaic period so you can get a better idea of how things looked. The image on the left is the Peplos Kore, circa 530 BCE in Athens of the Acropolis Museum. You may be aware that statuary of this time was actually painted, so the Peplos Kore would have been quite beautiful with its paint. Additionally, you can see that it is inspired by Egyptian art due to the shape of the eyes, the hairstyle, and the overall shape. It's called the Peplos Kore because she is wearing a peplos, a traditional outfit worn by Greek women of this time period, and she is a kore, which is the Greek word for woman. The image on the right is of Heracles and Athena, which is, again, a black figure vase painting on the side of a belly amphora by the Endokides painter, circa 520 to 510 BCE. A fun thing to note is that most classicists, that is, people who study classics, have a favorite painter. My favorite painter is the Polyphemus painter, and you'll find out why later in the presentation. We now move to the Homeric question. Before we begin, I will say that I will be discussing my own personal thoughts as to the Homeric question. This has been debated by scholars even in ancient times, and I doubt we'll ever come to a clear conclusion, because if there's one thing academics enjoy doing, it's having a circular argument. To the first and second questions, who is Homer? Did one person or multiple people write the Iliad/Odyssey? I personally feel they're unimportant. Homer is Homer. He, or a group of people, wrote the Odyssey, or more likely, wrote down a series of tales that were originally told verbally. This is in line with what most scholars believe. Now, the manner in which these stories were composed is fascinating, which is the subject of the third question: how were the poems composed? Because, if it was the case of storytellers writing down spoken tales, then this really showcases the shared cultural history of ancient Greece, rather than the imaginings of one person. Although even then, when dissecting a work by an author, one can see the influences of the society they lived upon the pages of their work. We move now to discussion of the Odyssey itself. It has 24 books and over 12,000 lines, and yes, I intend to translate them all. It depicts the 10-year odyssey of Odysseus, king of Ithaca. The key characters, of which I am vastly summarizing, are Odysseus, his wife, Queen Penelope, his son, Telemachus, and the Greek pantheon. While Odysseus is trying to return home, suitors in Ithaca are trying to marry his wife, who has to employ her own craftiness to prevent that from happening. Telemachus goes on a journey of his own to meet with Odysseus's comrades during the Trojan War, as written in the Iliad, and learn more about his father. Some of the main gods featured in the Odyssey are Athena, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hermes. Poseidon is particularly important because he's the Greek god of the sea and spends most of the Odyssey preventing Odysseus from going home, usually for petty reasons, but there is one case in which his anger is justified, such as when Odysseus blinds his son, Polyphemus. We shall now move to translating the Odyssey. We'll move our focus to my translation process, using part of the passage I intend to read for you all later in the presentation. On the left is the beginning of the passage in ancient Greek, with the English translation on the right. Ancient Greek has an interesting resonance, so I will briefly go through this passage for you. Bear in mind that I am not, obviously, a native Greek speaker, so at times my pronunciation likely will not match modern Greek performances. Tipte toson polypheme, aremenos hode eboosas nukta di ambron sin kai, opnus ame tithesa, metiseu mela, bronton eketons elaune, metisi onton, ketene dolo bifin. The English translation reads, "What sore distress is thine, Polyphemus, that thou criest out thus through the immortal night, and makest us sleepless?" So, if we go from the first line from there, "What sore distress is thine, Polyphemus," you can see that I work from section to section. So starting with, "What sore distress is thine" becomes "what you hollerin' about," where Polyphemus becomes a Polyphemus. I won't be translating the entire passage line by line, but I wanted to do at least 2 lines to showcase my process. Our examples begin in American Standard English and will be translated into African American Vernacular English of also known as Ebonics. Also, please note that in the interest of time, this English translation comes from the Perseus website, specifically the 1919 translation by A.T. Murray. I promise I don't translate text into ye olde English unless I'm bored. The second line reads, that thou criest out thus through the immortal night and makest us sleepless, which then becomes, that you go make all this noise while we sleeping. The passage below is from the Odyssey, Book 9, lines 396 to 414. This is the English translation, which is what I usually work with after having translated it from ancient Greek. I will read this passage, and then in the next slide, we'll have the translation, which I have freshly done for this presentation, and it was a lot of fun to work on. Then he called aloud to the Cyclopes, who dwelt round about him in caves among the windy heights, and they heard his cry and came thronging from every side, and standing around the cave asked him what ailed him. What sore distress is thine, Polyphemus, that thou criest out thus through the immortal night, and makest us sleepless? Can it be that some mortal man is driving off thy flocks against thy will, or slaying thee thyself by guile or by might? Then from out the cave the mighty Polyphemus answered them, My friends, it is no man that is slaying me by guile and not by force. And they made answer and addressed him with winged words. If then no man does violence to thee in thy loneliness, sickness which comes from great Zeus thou mayest in no wise escape. Nay, do thou pray to our father, the Lord Poseidon. So they spoke and went their way, and my heart laughed within me that my name and cunning device had so beguiled. So, to summarize, this section involves Odysseus telling Polyphemus that his name is no man or nobody. And this is after the moment where he and his men have stabbed Polyphemus in the eye with, I believe, a strong wooden spear of sorts, blinding him. And his Cyclope brethren have tried to come to Polyphemus's aid, but Odysseus is just a bit too crafty for him, unfortunately. Here we have my translation for the Aphrodite, Polyphemus attacked by nobody. I will warn you that there is a mild bit of swearing, I believe only 2 to 3, but if that is something that bothers you, I would suggest just sort of turning off your headphones for a bit. Then he called out to the Cyclopes, who was chilling up in those hella windy caves, and they heard old boy and hurried to his cave, asking if he was good. Hey, Polyphemus, what you hollering about that you gon' make all this noise while we sleepin'? Is some nigga snatching up your sheep, or has he run up on you? Then from out the cave, Polyphemus answered, Bet, nobody is in here working me over. And so trying to keep they chuckles to themselves, his homies answered, If ain't nobody hurting you, then shut your ass up. You either done pissed off Zeus, or something's not right with you. You better go ahead and pray to our dad Poseidon. So they spoke and bounced, and I was on that petty life for how thoroughly I had finessed this clown. If you have any questions or just want to chat, I've included my email here, basilwrightofficial@gmail.com. Also, if you just want to talk about more about black figure vase painting, ancient Greece, a little bit of Rome, any sort of thing, I'm always down for emails. I enjoy talking to people. You can also find me on Twitter @Kobanyakana, and you can visit my website, towerofbasil.wordpress.com, for a few more snippets of the Aphrodite and a few other things I've translated into African American vernacular English. Mostly a myth of Icarus and a myth of the Minotaur. And for fun, sometimes I do enjoy translating Old English works such as Shakespeare into the style of ancient Greek epics. So that's also available on my website. All of that is under the Mythica Fabula tab, which means mythical stories. And see, I told you we would get back to the Polyphemus painter. This image is of Odysseus stabbing Polyphemus with his men behind him, which was painted by the Polyphemus painter. It's a very iconic piece, and I could very well spend hours discussing the iconography and other artistic aspects, but we have reached the end of our presentation. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my presentation, and I hope to hear from you soon.
It's not gonna let me select that coat, huh? I guess I gotta I gotta color it by hand. We on Twitch again. Hi, Twitch! I'm probably going to be done soon just because it is 1:30 or almost 1:30, and yeah. I'm honestly not too tired though, just because like oh. Matt. It just didn't have no. Yeah, yeah. I was just like, how long will I go for? There we go. Hey. Manifesto. Ooh, tarot. My friend Daisy, who you all should all follow. I'm just promoting every single one of my friends. She did a tarot reading for me recently. Excuse me. Because she's quite good at that. No. Yeah. I really want to do like actually speaking of that, I really want to do like a tarot theme with my OCs someday. I just need to create the energy to make it. Yes. Boost. Upside down. Ooh. Moxie. Ooh. I will take a peek after I'm done. There we go. Okay. I was just like looking at this. I'm like, did I miss something? Hell yeah. Boost. Get a loud car outside, please. This is why I hate living in a city. The only reason why. Oh, that's what I forgot on my hand. Oh, I will. What is that ragdoll doing? Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh God. New way of establishing dominance. Yes. Capital T pose. It's like an upside down T pose. This is how I'm. There you go. Oh my God. Wait. Oh, we gotta talk about JoJo. Who here likes JoJo? Who here likes JoJo? We have to talk about this. Yeah, I know you do, Koi. Oh my gosh. My friend Jazzy here, they linked me Stone Ocean. I still need to read it. I was so thankful because we love our fellow JoJo stans in here. Ooh. Oh my God. I lived with JoJo. Someone pointed out, I posted a pic on Twitter before the gala started, and someone noticed that I have a Jotaro pillow on my bed, and that is true. I got one. One of my friends gave me the Diamond Unbreakable version of Jotaro for my birthday, and so I do quite like it. I think so. Part 4 Supremacy. Part 6, yes. Jolene. I'm thinking I might actually leave it here. Just because I realized that I need to figure out the color coordination for their outfits, because I haven't really done that. Because they're not going to be the same colors. So I have like 5 things. I wish men hated. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Let me. I don't know how to end this. If I can. I'm gonna. Oh my gosh, I need to check all the pings because I haven't really checked all the alerts. Every time I met cis men. Oh my gosh. How did you get here through the whole? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me. I don't get all like the hate against like JoJo fans. I'm like, everybody I've met has been chill. I'm pretty sure you can't perceive cars unless you're 40% fruity. It's just the white ones. You're right. I've noticed that. I'm like, what is... I think it's fine. Jojo, you know what line? What? The shadow. No. You know what? I feel like Koi and Jazzy would get along really well. I have a feeling. Jazzy, they're in the chat. They're Mossy Mushrooms, aka Jazzy, aka Mossy Mushrooms on Twitter, and Acid Jazzy on Twitch, aka you should go follow them. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Also, I am going to call the stream. Oh, how you homophobic and standing to you? Awful. Oh, I love this. I'm gonna call the stream here, just because I'm gonna finish. I don't know what to do for colors, so I might need to do that on off stream. Thank you guys so much. This was so fun. This was awesome. I'm so sad that we closed off with JoJo because I realized we could have talked about that. But yeah. Thank you guys for the love. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you. I'm like still just like, I'm gonna like get off and see the explosion on Twitter. I'm like, but yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the gala. Like, yeah. So yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll hopefully, if you follow me on Twitter, I gotta do a shameless plug, I forgot. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll be able to see the finished picture later on, if you wanna. Thank you very much. And on Twitch too, since I do this regularly, or at least try to. Depending on it, I might. That's me. What the? How many did I gain? But yeah, I'm gonna close off now. So you guys have a lovely day. I love you all. You guys have a great day. Bye.